So I'm just going to do a brief intro, and then we're going to kick into it. In 2017, the Lyran energies made their presence known to me and Louise unequivocally. And I was like, what the, because it was quite a different and strong energy, and very no nonsense, no PC, very, very direct and very, very powerful. And so I spent quite a few nights and days with Louise in trance channel, asking questions and finding out what this was about. But that wasn't my first introduction. It was 2008 was my first introduction that I heard about the Lyran, the Lyran energy, and my connection with it. And then in uncertainties, I had that verified through different things that happened. But that's me. What I'm asking you guys to do today, you beautiful people here to do today, is to put aside anything you think you know, have read, have seen, have heard, have channeled about Lyrans, the Galactic Lyrans beings. So since the 2017, Lou's brought through 2 books. The 2 books are available here today for those who would like to purchase later, and the 3rd book is on its way. So today we're going to leave it up to the Lyrans to speak, and I know that there's 1, 2, 3, 2 strongly, and maybe a 3rd emissary coming through, and those of you who are sensitive will be tapping into those energies. I would invite you to set your own domain, set your own I am space of being, connect into the breath, connect into Gaia, connect into the higher energy of divine self, the ultimate energy of divine self, the I am. And allow yourself to breathe, to expand, to relax, to be a clear canvas of allowance. Not everything you hear today will resonate with everyone, and that is perfectly fine. Take what resonates, but take what challenges you and ask, why am I challenged? So without further ado, my dears, we will begin.
Greetings, we are the narrators of time, of that which is the Lyran sexton. We have chosen to come through first in the enunciations of that which will be of this day, to set the stage, to set that which is the platform for those that are coming to communicate and speak with thee, a foundation that can be built upon. We have recorded the history. We have monitored many of the extraordinary events that have occurred through the multiple realms of existence, not just your 27th realm of existence. Oh yes, you are not the 3rd dimension, you are the 27th dimension or 27th realm. And it is not, shall we say, a heightened state of evolution. It is the placement of the realm of existence that you are in from that which is the origination of source and the first realm of existence. And we will explain this. We are not here to debate on small matters such as 3rd dimension, 5th dimension, 7th dimension awarenesses. This is for your humanity to uncover, to formulate, and to realize what these actually mean beyond the mental conception of a greater evolutionary fact. So as I speak to you on behalf of all of those that are here within the group known as the Lyran Narrators of Time, I announce my name, Raoul. For I speak for them as one. And as we stand, myself with my family, my sector, and those that will come after, know that we have a code. We have a code that is unbreakable. A code that we will die for before any of us will willingly bow the knee to any other but ourselves. And that code is integrity. It is honor. It is dignity. It is truth. It is self-responsibility. It is these factors that make ourselves a united and viable place to begin in all aspects and all parts of who we are. Such a long introduction. But it is important. For these last words that I spoke, honor, integrity, truth, dignity, self-responsibility, are the core makings within any Lyran. And whilst I am here on this matter, for those who have already consumed the literature or who may yet consume it, we define and break down the fact that there are true blood Lyrans and those who are Lyran. And this comes about the great violation, the great infection, the great war of Lyran. Many humans have heard mythology of Lyra, of Lyrans, but we are here to bring our side, our story. For truly it has been ignored. The Vegans have, who are our cousins, by the way, the Vegans have given a storyline of who the Lyrans are. It is not true. It is peppered with truth, but it is not true. Yes, our planet was destroyed. Yes, our homeworld no longer exists, but it does. And yet we have created for ourselves a new vibrational place of being, of existence. We came from the second and the third realm of existence. And due to no fault of our own, other than the fact that we were innocent and allowed infiltration of dark energy to infiltrate those of a weaker energy in our ranks that alluded to manipulation, to grandeur and grandiose mental and heart structures, there was a war, not amongst two royal families, but amongst three. You see, this has been deleted. A third of our populace has been deleted by your historic writings on your interweb and that which is given by so-called starseeds. And we ask ourselves, why would they delete 1/3 of our beings, of our species, 1/3 of our people? And why, oh why, are we given cute, furry heads? Cute, furry, feline features. We are nothing of a feline. We are more like you. Or should we say, you are like us? For we have seeded many of the DNA stratas of existence of humanoids throughout not just our own galaxy and our own universe, but through the multiverses, including this galaxy. Why? Because we were running for our lives from a force that we will only call the formless ones. For they had no form, they had no physicality. Oh, they had an energetic form, and we will not describe that energetic form because it is what you would consider stuff that horrific nightmares are made from. Just appreciate that we are using the terminology formless ones to infer their intent. Now, as narrators, as historians, we have gathered together many of the stories and we have correlated them. And we have taken a theme, we have taken a streamlined event, and we are knitting them together. And you would say, but why are we speaking to humanity? Why are we bringing the narration through at this time? We started many, many years ago. But not many would hear our voice. Oh, some have, and they have tried to bring forward, but it has become infiltrated with what they could discover about who Lyrans were, that someone else had written. So one of the conditions as the narrators of time of the Lyran epistles, we asked this one to disengage entirely from that which you call the interweb, to seek no clarification, no knowledge of what and who we were. She had a reference point. Back in 2012, she was given a dream. And she was given a message by somebody who did not know her about the Lyran glove of invisibility. And she had a dream where she was an architect, a builder of buildings, a structure maker, yes, who went on a trip of archaeology. And she was asked to give her interpretation on certain buildings that they had found. How could they possibly exist? How could they stand when they had no foundations? They had no roof, but the roof was there, the ceiling, the walls, etc., etc. How could it be? And as she was in her dream going through what she did, she suddenly, in her dream, realized she had been here before. And that's when things began to turn around for her. And she suddenly, in her dream, realized that she had been in a lifetime elsewhere, in a different time, in a different moment, in a different place. And she relived the end of her life in the Lyran Wars. She woke up and she said, I think I'm Lyran, whatever that is. I don't know. That was back in the early 2000s. She then forgot about it, as people do about dreams, which is good. But the seed had been planted. We had awoken within her a certain coding within her DNA. Yes, this was all, shall we say, on our part planned to reach out for a scribe, somebody who would bring a story through without adding to it. So come 2017, we introduced ourselves to the one Heather, and again to this one. But we had already asked the one Platorans to introduce the one Heather to the concept of Lyra, of Lyran, and that she had within herself the resonation and the DNA of such a being. Again, a seed was planted. Again, it went to the back of the mind, back of the knowledge, but not forgotten. And then in 2018, we asked this one to sit down and write, to allow us to write through her. And she did. And since then, we have been purposefully bringing information through in the form of a story, of what your society, your peoples would call science fiction. For if we were to say this is factual and true, she would be laughed out of society and derided, detracted, and made to look like a fool. Because how can you prove it? But if we wrap up the truth in a story that is known as science fiction, then it is accepted. And then what happens is those who read it that know the truth, that resonate the truth, or in vibrational connection to the core of the true Lyran blood, go, oh my God, oh divine, oh oversoul, my God, this is true. And they begin to feel and know that which is, the codings unlocking within themselves. But why are we bringing the disclosures? Why are we disclosing a great deal of information? Information that is in many ways already here on planet Earth, given by many good, honorable, distinguished, balanced energies, through from the Palladian to the Arcturans, to the Sirians. Even messages from our dear beloved family members in Telos, as well as the Galactic Federation, which actually should be called the Unified Galactic Governance Alliance of Leadership within worlds. It was shortened to Galactic Federation because people, not just humans, but many peoples, species, found it a mouthful to speak. We have many stories to tell, but our main one is this: you are being hunted, and you have in this last year, 18 months, discovered that these hunters are in your planet, are on your planet. The formless ones are here. And our story is to give you, the human species, the re-remembrance that you do not have to remain in a lobotomized situation, in a lobotomized state of being. You can rise up and you can regain your true Terranhood. Again, the Terrans come from Terra Vanalish Gaia, which is Gaia's full name, as she gave it to us when we first came upon this world, as she was still forming, after we had fallen through the explosion that we created in the attempt to destroy our world, to kill those who were attacking us, the formless ones. We failed. But there was a rift or a split in time-space continuum, and both our planet Lyra and our twin planet Vega fell. The Vegans still hold us against us, but they had aligned themselves to the formless ones. They had made a pact. Leave us alone and we will help you destroy the Lyrans, our cousins. Yes, even back in the day when we are supposed to be all divinely connected with the universe, yes. When experience was only, shall we say, 2 or 3 experiences deep of separation from source, there was still enough perception in one's body, in one's soul, of self-preservation. Preserve self, sacrifice that. It is not just a human condition. It is, shall we say, multiverse. No. So this is the reason we are bringing these books out. Now we are speaking from the narrator's point of view because we are wanting to relay the information that we have upon that which is a scribe that can scribe for us the truth of our perception, of our story, of our travels, of how we fought and are still fighting for our very existence. How we managed to leave our home planet with enough DNA construct of our planet and our soil, our waters, which is nothing like your waters. It is pure, it is sweet, it's almost thick, if we could call it that. It has substance to it. You can breathe in it. In fact, that's where a third of our people lived, in the waters of Lyran, the Dolphinians. Our people had 3 royal families. These 3 royal families still exist today, scattered amongst the star system, the void that surrounds the entirety of the multiverse. We utilize the portals between the multiverses, you call them stars, to dispatch information between outposts. We have motherships that traverse through these portals, consistently ensuring that there is a presence of Lyran negotiators here on this planetary system for our promise to Gaia, or as we affectionately call it, to Gaia. We made her a promise in exchange for staying here after our escape. We seeded in her certain DNA strands within the plant life, the animal life, the humanoid life, the water life, the soil life, minerals, etc., etc. It was a small exchange. But now we are seeing humanity is discovering these deposits, these mineral deposits, these awarenesses. They are stepping into their DNA exposure and unlocking their codes. Do not think we are droll and boring as historians. There is a lot that we are wishing to communicate to you, but we do not wish to, as they say on your planet, we do not want to hog everything up. For there is Ragnör, Raina, Shira, Elise, that also wish to speak. And these are emissaries, these are warriors, negotiators, scientists that are here at this time, in this present moment, in this manifest time of your decades, of your epoch, to tell you why they are here. The underlying truth, the underlying factor is that we are here to assist you, to bring to you the knowledge of truth that you are not a doomed race. And I use that terminology because there are a large number around your globe that are living in the fear of being a doomed race. That the human species is on the brink of extinction. And in many ways it is, but in many ways it is not. And we are here to give you, because we have access to timeline travel, We are able to go forward and back in the timelines and give this one the information as far into the future as what you would call a 2049 date line. And we can see the mirrors of what happens on the left and on the right. What happens if the sliding door, as you would say, slid shut at a certain time and you did not go through it, or you went through it and let it slide behind you. There are alternatives, 2 timelines consistently running at this moment, but only one timeline has the sustenance, has the power to exist. For one to exist, the other must overpower it, must consume it. And this is the reason why we Lyrans are here to support you and to bring this information through, to give through our literature that which is the codes, that which is the insights into dealing with these nefarious formless ones who have brought to your planet the draconian, the grey, the mantis, and many other, shall we just say, dark energies. We, on the other hand, work with those known as the Zeta Solodium. Now, these Zeta are not the greys. They are smaller. They are bluish in color. And they are like monks. And they work with us. And they have rescued untold humans from the hands and the ships of the greys, of the draconians, of the mantids. And they return them to their homes. And because the last thing a human sees is this short, stumpy, beautiful little body, they go, oh, I was taken by the greys. Now, we are not saying that were not taken by the greys, but the greys and the Zeta are 2 totally different species. They both come from Orion. But the Zeta Solitudium withdrew and isolated themselves from what they considered a virus attack on their people, which was the formless energy overriding, or what you would like to call walking in to their brethren and overcoming, killing the individual and utilizing their consciousness and their body for as long as the body, the meat suit as you would call it, could hold their energy before it started to literally decay off the energy. Now, this is not a very pleasant sight, nor is it a very pleasant description, but we are not going to withhold from you a truth. For this is our history. This is what we have learned and seen with our own memories. I cannot say eyes, for I personally was not in existence in the Great Wars. But I have the memories of my sector, and I know, and I have been taught by the sector teachers, by the scientists, by the healers. I have sat with the negotiators as they have relayed the battles that they have gone through and what they have seen. And yes, there are still some of the ancient Lyrans amongst us on our ships who fight and teach the young Lyrans that are coming aboard, being born and integrated into the world that they now call life. Our worlds and ways of being are not so dissimilar. You are fighting for your humanity. But I would prefer to say you are fighting for your Terranship, because you are Terran, not human. Again, the human part of you comes from when the Anunnaki interfered with the Terrans. The Terrans are the birth children of Gaia. And they have a kiss of divine infliction of life in themselves from the divine creator. They did not have to go through an oversoul barrier. What do I mean by that? It means that my race was created by two oversouls whom Source had created as part of Source's experiential of separation. But Source, the divine creator, came directly to the call of Gaia when she was birthing the Terrans, and they injected the God spark, the creator spark, the life spark into those forms that Gaia had created. Again, you can discover more if you so choose in the oracles, the literature. We are here to bring to you what happened to us, that you may learn from us and not repeat the same mistakes. We are here to expose what is going on in your society behind closed doors. Much has been revealed, but there is still much that is unknown, much that is denied. Because even amongst the awoken or the awakened beings and communities, there is a certain distancing from the painful truth of what is occurring, because it's not what you term love and light. It's ugly and it's painful, and it means that you are to face what is within you to deal with what is without. The Anunnaki, when they interfered with the Terrans and they created a slave race, which they call Hummus, as a derision name, a name to deride and to break down any form of self-pride, of self-awareness within that being. Because the humus is just dirt. It's soil. It's decaying matter. And this is what they called this hybrid of Terran and we won't go into it. But over time, as things evolved, the humus became human. How did this happen? Because you cannot quench the gods. And when a Terran gives its blood, that God spark is in its DNA. When a Terran intermingles sexually with another species, that God spark is there. This is the unique factor of Terran. So we, as the narrators of time, are bringing through the historical events of when Terrans became human or became slaves out of choice. They allowed themselves to become lobotomized by the Anunnaki through a technique that is still being used today, vibration and sound and color. Yes, it's also used to heal, but in the alternative way, it can be used to destroy. We are bringing to you your history. For many awakening to this fact that there is something not right. There is a missing link. There is something that is inside of them that needs to break, but they are unsure of exactly what that is. There are those amongst you that have finally, and we say finally as if it has just happened now, but it has for some of you taken 10, 15 years for that lobotomy to be undone and your connection to be true to the creative side of you, of the core in the heart area. Once this begins to happen and you infect others around you, because now you begin to speak differently, you think differently, you emanate your energy differently. And what begins to happen is there becomes a vibrational sequence event that occurs in others who are awakened to the Lyran and the Terran DNA coding. And it begins to unravel within you. There is a lot of information that we are not going to cover today, but it is in the book. We jump you from this timeline to that timeline. We take you into the timelines where the Lyrans are rediscovering who they are as they travel through space-time continuums, where they go into different sectors of the multiverse in the void. And they discover their own strengths and overcomings, and how they learn from the ancient Lyrans that they come across, and how they bring that into the human world. There is much that you can learn. There is much that you can release if you choose. But you must, and we say must because it is not only a privilege, but it's a key area to know that if you are a true Lyran, your blood will sing. Your vibration, your DNA will begin to communicate to you in such a way that it will be recognized by other true Lyrans. The Lyrans who do not resonate with us are what we call the dead Lyrans. They no longer have within them, although they are Lyran and they exist amongst us, they do not have the regenerative clause in their DNA that the true Lyran does. And why is this? Because they were the ones that allowed themselves to become manipulated and turned against their own brethren in the wars of Lyra. It is explained further if you wish to know. The codings that we write down and we bring forward are deliberate. They may seem to the human eye long and monotonous, but there is a reason and there is a rhyme to it. There is a purpose to it, because it will resonate with you or it will not. And the true Lyrans are being called. The reason they are being called is because once they are awakened, they can conjoin their energies with the fleet while still being here on Terra. And this is a great benefit because we are then able to download information to them through the organic links. And we can begin to transmit codes that will awaken more. We can transmit energy that will connect with more. But it is choice, and it is always definable truth to your own energy. Our quest is to give you enough information that you can translate where you are now, transform it. And yes, it may seem slow at this moment, but if you begin to ascertain the depth of information that is being presented to you in the written word, you will begin to see how it can apply. A true Lyran will never, never take what is not theirs in any manner, way, or form, because the dignity and truth that they live by the honor of their sector, by that which is their sheer knowledge of self-discipline, they will only speak what is theirs. Otherwise, they will say, this is what I have learned from there. I have made it mine, but it originated there. For you see, in this is the directive of the true Lyran. Integrity. Integrity is foremost. Indeed. Indeed. We are being asked if we will step aside slightly. We may come back later. But Ragnör wishes to come in and address the group. Ragnör is a negotiator. He is of the family Van Ron. And he is a master negotiator. In other words, he is of the old families, an ancient one. He witnessed the battles. He saw his people die. Hear him and hear his wisdom. We thank you. Greetings. I am Ragnör. Ragnör El Vahron is my name. I am of the El Vahron family, and we are as old as I can remember, and older still. I am a negotiator, and no, not a negotiator by your human definitions. I am a warrior. I am a defender, but I negotiate first. And what the narrators of time have been telling you is indeed a very broad spectrum of the picture that is our lives. Historically, we have always been within a shout's distance of Gaia, for she is our adopted mother, our adopted planet. But we swore an allegiance that once she was ready to bring forth her first humans, or Terrans is what she originally called them, we would leave. So we would not interfere, we would not influence. And so from before you Terrans were born, we've known Gaia. And that is, shall we say, more than a few epochs. Why am I here today? What is it that I wish to translate to you, to give to you, that you may take into this time? Now, I am, in many words of your human tongue, the equivalent of a commander. Commander-in-chief, the highest ranking that you can go in a military form. I am not here to rally the troops. I am not here to invoke mandatory or otherwise sign-ups, because that is not how we do things. It's not what I'm here for. What I'm here for is to inform you that your world, as you already know, has been in a battle. A battle for its life, for your lives. A battle where many forces good and evil, to use your terminology, have been at odds with each other. We have seen it played out on your human scope, your various continents and countries, your demarcated places of life, where you should or should not live, where you should or should not be, and your draconian ways of transportation and draconian ways of traveling between sectors. It was once quite beautiful, where Terrans would just walk where they wanted to walk. Terrans would fly where they wanted to fly, levitate, go within the lines of Gaia. They would fly between places through portals. They would think where they wanted to be and they would be there. All of these they knew instinctively of what to do. When Gaia created them, she created a secondary species, commonly known as giants. These giants would guard the forests that walked upon your world. The Terrans had a wonderful relationship with these playful, gentle giants. However, when the Anunnaki came, they did not have time to be gentle or kind. They slaughtered the forests. They slaughtered the giants, except those that they wanted to use as slaves and for DNA purposes. There was much trauma on this world, and we could do nothing. It tore our hearts, but we'd made a promise that we would only re-enter the system and re-enter this world when Gaia gave us permission. She gave us permission, and we are here. But you know, the permission that she gave us is come and talk to my people. Come and tell them where you came from, what you went through, so they can learn, they can stand and fight and claim themselves back and become my Terrans again. Not my humans, my Terrans. I miss my Terrans. Do you know why she misses the Terrans? Because the Terrans had within them the flowing gold and silver and copper in their blood. You still have that today, but in minute capacities, but still so much of it that if they knew how to, oh, hang on, they do. They know how to remove it from your blood. It's that very essence that keeps you youthful and young and strong and healthy. But your brain and your body have forgotten how to utilize this energy. Terrans know how to utilize through their protein and sugar makeup of that which you call your DNA, and all that junk DNA around you is that which is the transformers. It helps to lock in the actual elemental powers of that which your body is made up, which is from your Mother Earth, from Gaia herself. In the very depths of your hearts, your knowing, if you silently go in there and you ask to be shown the frequency, the resonance of the gold and silver and copper within you, as well as all of the other elements, the zinc, and all the other metals, you will begin to see and feel how valuable you truly are. Why am I here this day? Not to give you a history lesson, not to give you a biology lesson, but to remind you of some certain things. But to also reignite within you that you are warriors. A negotiator does this in battle. Firstly, we come to an impasse where basically we overpower the enemy's ship or the enemy's camp. And we do not go in there and kill them. We go in and we say, yield, come to the table, negotiate with us, yield, become incorporated into the Lyran way, which is an acceptable intergalactic living standard. Doesn't mean you have to become Lyran. It's the Lyran way. Integrity, honor, discipline, truth, self-responsibility. Do no harm. Protect the innocent. And we will go backwards and forwards as long as we can. And we will give and take and give and take. And we will do what's necessary with the enemy, because we are their enemy. If they do not wish to negotiate, if they do not wish to come to the intergalactic way and join their communities to the greater complexity of communities within our worlds, then it is weapons. And we will destroy them. Why will we destroy them? We cannot afford to let those who are working with the formless ones survive. For they will do again and again and again what they have been doing, which is destruction, death, destruction, death, destruction. Negotiator will always give a way out first. And this is what we are here to remind you of. You are warriors. A warrior knows how to get the other party to yield. And yielding is not giving up, not surrendering because they have to. It's so that they see the knowledge and the wisdom, the power, the freedom, the liberty of being back in their own true community, their own cognizance, and being released from the stronghold of the formless ones, of the draconians and the Anunnaki, of cutting those ties, of taking back their power. And this is what humanity has been attempting to do over the last 5 years. Little bit by little bit, you've been breaking bonds. You've been stepping out of the shadows. And you have been enunciating more often than not, take back, take back. But what are you taking back? You must begin with yourselves. You must come back to the very core center of who you are. Are you a negotiator? Or are you a scientist? Are you a healer? Whatever it is, come to the very core of who you are, in integrity, in honor, in truth. Find the self-discipline to know that you are within the very structure of your being, the very quantified element that you are. And what begins to happen is, in that knowledge of defining the integrity and the truth, the discipline, the dignity, you begin to unlock the lobotomy in yourself. The lobotomy is a sequential vibration. It changes sequence every so often. As soon as you start getting close to it, it will change. But nothing can stand against the vibration resonance of truth, of dignity, of honor, of integrity. These are our core values. And this is what we teach. When humans realize that in their integrity and in their truth, and believe me, my friends, truth is far beyond just a belief system. It is far beyond just, oh, I know this is true because it feels good, or because so-and-so taught me, or so-and-so said. It goes beyond. It rips you from the inside. It bleeds from you. Your truth can never be squashed. It can never be removed, no matter what happens. An individual can force you to your knees, gun to the head, weapon to the body, vibrational frequency pulling at your very cells, demanding you release your truth. If you are a true believer in what is your truth, you will never let it go. And that is a Lyran. And that is anyone who comes into the Lyran way. Because when you comprehend what it is to be of the value, then nothing can stop you from unlocking the sequence that the Anunnaki placed upon your people out of deception and manipulation epochs ago. All it takes is for an awareness that you do not have to bow the knee to anyone any longer. Do you see how I'm negotiating with you? I'm giving you some information. I'm allowing you to absorb this, to take this in. Now, what you do with this is totally on your side of the table. As a negotiator, I am here to present you with the truth. My truth. The truth of my people. The truth of the people that have come alongside us. The Nelfelix May. The Danites. They have lived with us for many thousands of cycles. The Syrians, Palladians, the Arcturans, they accepted us when we were searching for a home base. And our peoples are there. And they have incorporated and accepted the Lyran way. Not because we forced it upon them, but because they saw us living this way. And when you live this way, all of a sudden, you see through the program. You see through what has been played out before you. And you begin to see your truth. You begin to see who you truly are, Terran. You begin to see the capacity of the wealth of knowledge that has been denied you, because all of a sudden it comes rushing back, because the Terrans never forget. It's in your DNA. Why do you think you resist being encapsulated? Why do you resist when somebody says to you, thus far and no further? It's like you want to break that barrier. You want to step over that line. Because you were never meant to be kept in sections, in walled communities. You were never meant to be isolated from your family members. Now, you have families that you do not know about because you've been kept still in isolation groups, even though you call it your country and your heritage. It's a lie. You may call yourselves a name after a particular state of being, of birth, but you are not that. You are Terran. Terran has the right to travel wherever Terran wants, through the portals. Portals are here. Remember how to use them. And we are bringing this information back. We are assisting many to do this. You have the sight. You have the hearing. Use it. How do you use it? With integrity, with honor. You have to honor yourself first. You have to hear yourself first, and then it begins to unlock. It begins to turn that key, that sequential event. Am I facing the wrong way? We will get Elise to open her eyes. When you untap that sequential event, when you begin to feel in the front lobal area that discomfort. Now, it's not going to come as a great pain. It may. It's not going to come as a great revelation. It may. It's not going to be a defining day, and that happens. But you will wake up one day and go, my God, what's changed? What happened? I knew so little yesterday, I know so much today. Why do I feel uniquely different? And it will be a cellular change. It will be a cellular knowledge. You see, why we are bringing messages through to everybody at this stage in this particular part of your decade is because more than ever now, humanity must awaken to its truth. That it is not human, it is not humus, it is Terran. And a Terran knows how to communicate with her planet, with his planet, and with the divine. And when you have those two forces working alongside of you, and you are in the middle as the catalyst, as the connector point, you are a very powerful weapon. And you have forgotten this. You have forgotten how to communicate telepathically. We used to have long conversations telepathically with the Terrans here, and we would be on our outpost. That is how strong the telepathic communication was. Your telekinesis abilities were extraordinary. Your affinity with all things of nature was a thing of beauty, a thing of absolute inspiration, can we call it that? The balance of life on this planet was astronomical. And yet you lived 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years of age plus. Many of you much longer than that. I remember a time walking amongst some of the Terrans after we'd been given permission to mingle with them by Gaia. Once they had achieved a certain status of growth and evolution. I remember this Lyran engaging with a particular Terran. Now, Lyrans and Terrans use different timelines or different timings, yes? So our Lyran was probably, we would say, 25 cycles, which would probably put him around about 600 Earth years, yes? And this Terran and this Lyran were going at it. Who was faster, who's not faster? And they were running a race. And my dear friend, the Lyran, turned around and he said, come on, you old man, let's go for it. Thinking that he was talking to an old man. And the next minute, this Terran sprinted past him and said, old? I'm only 5,000 years old. Who are you? And he beat the Lyran. But what amazed me more was that they knew how to have fun. Everything in life was joyful. Whoa. Would you like me to pause, my friend?
No, just a bit. Very good. Thank you.
So, the Terrans at the time, when I walked on this planet without the interference, before the interference came through, the Terrans knew how to enjoy life. To them, everything was joyful. Now, this didn't mean that they walked around laughing all the time or with stupid smiles on their faces, but they had an air around them. There was a certain sequence of energy that flowed out of them, and everything was easy. There was no difficulty. A group of them were like, let's create this. Okay, go back 2 days later and it's done. how did you do that so quickly? Oh, we just asked Gaia for this, and we got that, and that came from there. And oh, and what did you do with all the leftovers? Oh, we just took it back and put it into Gaia. There was this balance. Nowadays, you've forgotten that. So why are we telling you these things? Because hopefully, by reminding you of what you once were, it will bring you to who you can be. You see, the Lyrans have a responsibility, which we take very seriously. And that responsibility is to be your mentors, to be those that walk alongside you, to be your defenders, to be your protectors. But we can only protect those who accept it. And we can only defend those who want to be defended. And so you can see our dilemma. Our promise and our oath was to Gaia that we would be here, that we would protect, and we would keep you safe. Imagine then we come and we do this and we get told, nope, I want that. You're just an imagination. You're just something of somebody's makeup. We have to accept that, because that is our code of ethics. We cannot force something upon somebody that does not want it. Which is why I was very pleased when the one Heather turned around and said, take what resonates and leave the rest. Because we would never force our energy upon anyone. The Lyrans have seen much battle. We have seen many ships go down. We have seen many lives lost. And it is never easy watching that, experiencing that. But we have noticed in the last 5 years as well, a change in events in our favor. So what caused that event? What caused the change? Well, you did. Humanity did. Not just the people in this room, but humanity, Terran energy at large. More and more are stepping out of the slave race mentality, out of the human dichotomy, and into their Terran birthright. Why is it that there are more, what was once an abnormal occurrence of a child being born with 3 or more helixes or DNA that shouldn't be there? This is becoming more and more. Why? Not because it's an abnormal effect, because many are waking up to their Terran DNA, their starseed DNA, which, by the way, is legitimate. The only illegitimate DNA in you is that which has been placed upon you without permission. Those of you who have unfortunately had this done at the hands of those abductors who have been dealt with, greys, mantids, we have dealt with many of them. Reptoids, we've dealt with many of them, destroyed many of them, and saved you, humanity. And we call you humanity because that is your identification. When you become Terran, you will be called Terran. And there are some Terrans here. And there are some Terrans that we are speaking to. But the majority of you are still in the human dichotomy. So it is here in this moment that you have the ability to use this famous choice and free will that you have been spoken of many, many times by many teachers that say, Earth is the only place of free will, of choice. Well, it's a load of hogwash, actually. Because if it was the only place of free will and choice, the rest of us would be automated beings obeying somebody else's direction, and we would not be here to assist you. Think about it with critical thinking. But here is the little twist, and this is what has been left out. You have a deeper, a much deeper awareness of choice and of free will. Why do I say that? Because yes, I can choose to do something. I can choose to be here. I can choose to communicate with you. And I am here. You can choose to come in a free will. And then you can choose to leave. I can't. My choice was set. I chose to come to speak. The only way I would leave is if I had completed my dialogue. Or I was asked to leave. Do you see the difference? You have what we call a moving choice, a moving free will. It is fluid. And because of that, you are in the perfect place to turn your world upside down with great joy and great peace and great outcomes. Or not. You are more powerful than what you believe. You have more going for you, knowing that you stand under the universal law. The law of the universe is the most powerful attribute that you have. Study it, and you will find your keys out of the dichotomy that you are in. We have placed around your world, you've been told, a shield. You've been told the Galactic Federation, the Federation of Light, and all these other federations have placed a ring around your planet of ships to protect you. I call bullshit. You are your protectors. We are here to assist you to remember that. Yes, there are ships in the Galactic Federation. We should call it the Intergalactic Federation. Yes, there are other ships that belong to another faction called the Federation of Light. And I know that there is on this earth at this time a great dilemma of these names. Because one human individual who is highly religious said, this one is of the Cabal and this one is of light. Why would he say that? Without giving deep cognitive reason. I would say this to you. There is only one federation. It is the Intergalactic Federation of the Unified Worlds. And there are dark forces and there are light forces. And they are infiltrated everywhere. Just like your governments that you believe are so good and so well-meaning for you are as infiltrated to the back teeth with dark people. People of dark energy. The trick of identifying who is speaking when they announce themselves this way is to challenge. And if a message does not resonate with you, leave it alone. Throw it to the curb and clear yourself from it. My friends, you are wise beings. Many of you, yes, are born into this timeline for the exact experience of what you are experiencing as humans, as Terrans who are dumbed down. But you are great beings from other star systems. You are galactic beings who know so much more. And to you I speak at this moment. Wake up. You have sat on the tables of the great councils. You have communicated and communed with many, many, many galactic groups, knowing full well what the outcome was going to be. And you sit in the human bodies, in the human vessels, and you whinge. And you whine. Now I speak to the energy of those galactic and star beings, and I'm telling you, as the commander-in-chief of the Lyran negotiators, wake up and remember you chose to be here. Now realize that you were here for a reason and start activating, waking up and being that which was your calling. Stop asking other people, why am I here? You know why you're here. And you do know how I know? Because when I connect with you at that deep center that you refer to as your I am, as your divine core, when I go from my dignity and my honor and my what we refer to as our Lyran center, our heart center, the crystal heart center, and I emanate out to you and I connect to you and I ask permission and I get that connection, I know why you're here and you know why you're here. And it's to not just wake people up. It's to speak to those and teach those who are already awake that they are empowered, that they may speak to the rest. Stop looking for excuses to sit on your asses. I'm getting a little... But do you comprehend what I am saying?
We understand.
Beloved, 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 beloved Terrans, you must realize that you are more than just what you see in the mirror. There are a few here who are so wise, so old, that they sometimes in their energy they go, we want to go. I've had enough. And we beg you, stay a little bit longer. Those that are awakening need your guidance. They need your, how do you say this? The quick kick up the bum, yes? The swift kick up the bum, something like that. They need you to wake them up that way. The quick, don't give them coffee and biscuits and sit down gently. Slap them in the face with it. This is the truth. Because there is no time for niceties. Not anymore. The battle lines have been drawn. And it's not that you've drawn them, my darlings. My dear warriors, my scientists, my healers, my teachers, my negotiators. The battle lines have been drawn for you by the other side. And they're actually saying to you, what you going to do about it? So what are we going to do about it? We Lyrans have drawn out the swords, for we still use swords. For when we have oscillating lasers as well. But we also have something that many of you have forgotten. Some of you have used it. And that's the light array. You see, we are connected to the crystal heartstring, which is from original Lyra. And its vibration is so strong, it can be felt through dimensions, through realms. And when we connect to it in truth and in dignity, when we connect to it in our honor and our discipline, and we allow it to come through our heart energy, it's like I would call it probably like a railgun in your human terminology. We can just allow it to open up and we just let it go. And when it hits those nefarious energies, whether they have abused the human and taken the human body over, or they are just in the energy with their fingers manipulating your thoughts and your emotions, which is what they love to do, by the way. When that ray hits them, they do indeed cease to exist. Understand what we've said. They cease to exist. The crystal heartstone energy given to us by our oversouls, given to them by source, was a weapon that we were given. We did not understand, we did not comprehend, we did not fully realize it at the time. It could have saved our world, our people, and it could have saved what's happening here. So hands up, we are at fault for that. We were innocent, young, we did not know, but we have learned. And we have taught. And we have allowed those who are connecting in at that level to use it in the energy. We do not need your guns and your tanks. Neither do you. What you need is to come together as a solid, solidified being. Not many little things running around trying to do multiple things at the same time. You need to come together as a unit. You need to come together in a functioning, systematic unit. I'm going to leave that for you for a while. I may come back and answer a couple of questions later, but I feel that there is somebody who has been written about, who's actually in the books. These two personas. And she's tapping me on the shoulder saying she would like to speak. She is a scientist and a negotiator, but she is a scientist, healer. And her name is RaeNegria. Thank you. I am RaeNegria, and I believe the common greeting of your place is good day. I am utilizing this one's thought patterns and attempting in a negotiation way. I've been listening. I'm having a little fun at your expense, and I hope you can relate to that we have humor. We're not all dry bones and sticks and history. We actually do live a life of great intensity, of decisions that need to be made on the fly, that could change in the next very millisecond. You see, I am what they call a young Lyran. Young because I was born way after the great wars of desolation. I have no memory of the actual wars. I have memories that are in my body and in my cells that have come from the integrated teachings that I have from when I was a scholar. When my mentor made me learn for periods at a time the ancient tongue of Lyra. Because he had the last remaining book written by a Lyran from Lyra, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done, because we no longer speak their way, we no longer write their way, but it was interesting, and it's stayed in good stead because I have been able to translate glyphs and maps and etchings that no one else has been able to decipher, because my mentor saw something in me that could translate over time. I still have his book. So who exactly am I? I'm RaeNegria of the Lyrics family. And I am one of the three princes that was sent out on a journey to discover and to find and to bring back to the outpost, one of the many outposts, the Crystal Heartstone, because the Crystal Heartstone was removed illegally, but thankfully illegally, during the Great Desolations, and it was taken from Lyra, and it was spirited away. Rumors had it that it was in a place called the Sector of Light. It was in a place called the Gap, but nobody had ever found it. But my two friends and I and the crew that we gathered, we found it. And I'd like to tell you something. Although you feel that you may be reading a book of make-believe, of something that is real but not, isn't that how every historian writes a good thing, a good piece of history? That makes it believable by not being believable? But I want you to know that for me, it's every bit true. Because I was in the wars where we came face to face with some of our enemies, who are now our friends. The Nalfi Lixmay are one of them, a tribe of honorable, ancient people who live, in your terms, light years away from here. Behind what is termed by your scientists, your astroscientists, as the Ham Basket galaxy, way, way beyond the sight of a telescope. And they were bound and captured by the Draconians, by the formless ones, and forced into servitude. Forced, basically, imagine this, your entire family being sectioned off and removed from you. And the men, or the warriors, being told that they would get back to their life partners and their offspring only once they had destroyed another species, which were us. Now, they did a very good job. I lost family members. If I'm reading my history books correctly, I lost a lot of family members. But our leader and our ship that we're traveling in at this moment, she's a damn good negotiator, as well as a healer and many other things. Raj, now he is a master negotiator, we thought, until we met some of the ancient ones. And between us, we managed to get the Nalfi de Lexmay to come on board with us, to actually not attack us. We outmaneuvered them using a very, very simple and old technique that we didn't believe was going to work, but it did. And we did exactly what Ragnör said, and we negotiated. Except we did it slightly differently. We laid our ultimatum down on the table and walked out because we didn't know. We didn't know how more to do it. And besides, there were other things that we needed to get on because we were a small crew. We left security, keeping these guys under cover, so to speak. And, well, things turned out in a good way. But I want you to know what you read, what you've been told, is true. Because I've been there. No, I'm not a figment of this vessel's imagination. I am a living, breathing entity who, with permission, is speaking to you through the only way I can describe it is I am in a chair and I am connected through an organic link to a transmitter that is connecting vibrationally and resonantly with this one's energy, which is why we've asked her to sit down so she doesn't fall down. And by that, I'm able to speak through her mouth to you. I have seen such great horrors out there in the space, what you call space. It's the void. For there truly is nothing there. There are no pretty little stars. There are no pretty little this, that, or the next thing. It is a void. And yes, there are gas deposits. And yes, there are various things out there that are picked up. It's dark matter and light matter. But mostly it's void. It's empty. But when you jump through the void, through the essence of the power that is generated in the motherships, that's when you see the beauty. Because what happens is everything around you vibrates to such a degree that the dark matter, the light matter, everything separates, and you begin to see the color of the multiverses. You begin to feel the texture of everything around you, of the universe, the multiverses, the singularities. And that's where I get lost. I get lost in that beauty because it's so full of the particles and the particulates that it is so wondrous to go into. And then you look as you're jumping through and you look at your own frequency, your own physical body, and you realize that it too is in a particle form. It is moving at the same frequency and speed as the ship, so that there is no residue when you jump out. It's amazing. I have experienced firsthand at what the formless ones do to an individual. And that's why I wanted to speak to you tonight. Because I have observed, as a scientist and as a healer, I have observed the effects of having an energy that is not yours, that overrides your own free will, your own choice, your own cognizance, your own mind, your own consciousness. It literally locks you in a cage in your own body. And it rides you. It's like a parasite. And it lives off your energy until your energy can't sustain it any longer. I've seen what these beings do to the weaker, or what they consider the weaker species. And we cannot afford to let that happen to you. And I say cannot afford because in reality, you are us and we are you. Can you see that? Our DNA is in you. You are our family. This is how we look at it. So when we communicate to you, it's not that we're trying to prove a point. We're not trying to take something away from you. We're trying to give you something, a recognition of who you are. Yes, you are Terran. Yes, you are human. Yes, you are all these experiences that you've chosen to be in this time, in this moment. But you're more than that. You have within your DNA some Lyran DNA, which makes you family. At least to me it does. To Rexne Lloyd Diakwa, it does. To Raj Varun, it does. And these are the three princes of this time that respond and have a reliant connection to the Heartstone. And it is the Heartstone that allows us the frequency to communicate. Oh, it's not our master, it's not our God, it's not our whatever, but it is a frequency that enables us to access so much more than when we don't have it. The power of it connecting to us enables us to do so much more. And here's the secret that many of you may not know. Your world is being plundered. Your species is being plundered because your earth has a similar Heartstone that empowers the Terrans. It empowers the people of her planet. And if you don't know how to use it, you're going to lose it. If you do not know you have it, you can't defend it. But you do have it, and it is here, it is in your earth. But I'm not going to tell you where it is. It's huge. It's much bigger than what you could imagine. But it is in your earth. It's hidden, well hidden. But you are able to access it. It's the earth heart crystal. And when you connect to it, when you connect to that energy, you will feel what we feel. It's like a fire within you, but not a fire that consumes or burns. It's a fire that purges. And it's a fire that transitions you from one level to another, makes you alert and alive. It's not tangible, but it's not intangible. It's frequency. And it's available in this time, in this moment, for those who know how to connect to it. I can't tell you how to connect to it because that's your journey. You have to know it. You have to feel it. You have to recognize it. You have to know that you are worthy of connecting to that heart, to that crystal of Gaia. You see, when you become who you are, then everything else that's going on around you kind of steps away, kind of just melts into the sidelines because it can't come near you. And I'm not talking metaphysically, and I'm not talking make-believe. I'm literally saying that when you are in your power, there are things that happen that creates almost like a field of energy around you. And it keeps you in this place of being. You have to learn how to use it. You have to learn how to connect with it, but it's there. It is as safe as houses, as you would say here on Earth, but it's also pretty volatile. And if you don't truly connect with it in the correct frequency, you could burn a few things. But that's half the fun of learning, right? Yeah, I've been there. So when you do, make sure you're in a place that doesn't catch fire. No, I don't think yours would catch fire, but I don't know. I don't connect to yours. But trust your intuition. Trust who you are. Too often you get told who to be and what to do and how to connect to this and what symbology to use and this, that, and the next thing. But we don't want to do that. We want to give you information. We want to show you what's available. And then we have to leave the final choice up to you. You see, that's what being a Lyran is all about. It's giving you what you have. It's giving you everything that you could possibly need. And then just saying, you choose. Now, some of you, some of you are going to turn around and say, that was a day that, can I get it back, please? And then there's going to be others of you that go, actually, there was something there. I don't know what it was, but there's something there for me. And others of you are sitting here going, yep, tick the boxes. Yep, believe me, I've done that. I've been in the state where when I entered into the Lyran ship for the first time, I didn't even know it was an ancient Lyran ship. It was just a ship that appeared, that we isolated, we ran tests, we did everything that was necessary to do before we went on it. Nobody could make it work. Nobody could see and visualize what I saw and visualized. Because the minute I stepped on that ship, it was like I was taken into a trance. A trance I did not know I had the capacity to do or activate or use. But I saw more than what was etched. I saw more than what was written on the walls, painstakingly, by the ancient Lyrans that had sent the ship out to find those who had the true blood of a Lyran, the markers. I had one of those, or more than one, but the one marker that was required for that, I had it. It opened up to me. It was like walking through a wall of energy and being transported into a cocoon of liquid form that allowed me to walk and float, but it turned my mind off and it used my consciousness as a screen to project everything that I needed to see from these etchings. When I touched them, it was like I totally knew what they were saying. It was like I didn't even have to think. Now, you have the same capacities. You do. You just have to unlock them. You just have to trust yourselves. You just have to know that this is real. It's not fantasy. Maybe I'm being a little too passionate. But I've seen what happens to people who are not passionate, who just let things slide and let things go. Don't be like that. Don't think because you've seen it all, done it all, that it's just there's nothing left to do. There is. There's so much more. There is so much more that you know that you're here to do. So much more that you are aware of. Don't deny it. I have traveled light years, in your terminology, to be here. I have traveled through the Polaris system into the sector of lights. I have had my life force virtually ripped from me to save the Terrans. I thought it was to save the Lyrans, to rebuild Lyra, to take the Heartstone back to the outpost where all our main scientists were, so that they could install the frequencies to reignite the terraformal world that they had back to Lyra. No, it was that plus save the Terran, save this planet. It no longer became a choice for me. It became me. It became what I did and what I do. You see, we have this ability with our awarenesses and our connection, and utilizing slipstreams within the void, utilizing certain portals, we can jump forward and jump back in human time. For us, it's no time at all. But it's what we see and experience. We can jump 40 years into your future, 100 years. We can go back. We can come to present. And this is how we're able to give you information. But more than that, what was done to us does not need to happen to you. Your planet does not need to be destroyed. Because Gaia is actually quite young. And believe me, she's got more than enough of every element that you need to survive on this planet to take you to 50 lifetimes plus, and the ones that you bring after you. This fallacy that you've been given, oh, the census says there's X many billion people. Well, who says, have you asked yourself, who's saying that there's X many billion people on the world? Oh, but the census, the counting. I've seen it. I've seen the paperwork, but did you see the paperwork? Did you see the counting? Do you truly know how many people are on this earth? Do you know how wide the earth is? How big it is? Do you know that it goes on more than what you're being told? Do you know that outside the realm that you live in, outside the dome, that the Terrans still exist? That they walk with the Telosians quite freely? Oh yes, they come in and they come in under the dome and they speak with you here. But have you not questioned? We do. We question why you don't break it, why you don't take it back to what it was. And then we're reminded by those who've come before us, we're told again about the lobotomy, and we're told again and again and again, and we go, oh yeah, that's right, yeah. You see, in your terminology, I might be 600 or 700 years of age, but in reality of my timeline, I'm probably about 25. So if I'm a little cheeky, you got to give me some grace, right? But know this. In my 25 cycles, in my 25 cycles of life, I have learned so much more. Some that I wish I had never had to learn, never had to see. I have experienced council meetings with people and beings I didn't even know existed. I've seen creatures that, quite honestly, I still wonder at. But I respect, because they're part of the Intergalactic Federation. They're part of our community. And I'm asking you to come back into the community. I'm asking you to come back into the Intergalactic Federation. And don't think of yourselves as these poor creatures that need rescuing. Because you don't. You've already rescued yourselves. You just need to remember how you did it. You just need to wake up. In all seriousness, you just need to wake up in the memory. You need to remember what it is that you have done. You've done. You know, some messages are flying around and we listen to them like you listen to bandwidth radio. We listen to how you have these messages that have come over time that you to remember who you're from and where you're from, but nobody ever tells you where you're from. Nobody ever tells you how to remember where you're from. We've often wondered about this. I mean, like we will tell the Lyrans who don't have the true marker anymore, you're Lyran, remember that. You're from Lyra. Now, undo the doing. Go back and undo what you did so that you can become who you are meant to be. You're Terran. Go back so that you can be who you're meant to be. That's who you are. Yes, you're galactic human. Yes, you're from the ladies. Yes, you're from... So am I. But I'm Lyran. And it's the Lyran in me that's fighting. It's the Lyran in me that resists and rebels against that which is trying to take the galaxy away from me, the multiverse away from me and my people. Remember who you are. The frequency that locks you up here is the same frequency that can unlock you. Your forefathers bowed their knee to the Anunnaki to save Gaia. They thought truly Gaia was going to be destroyed. It wasn't them they wanted to save, it was Gaia. So now you know why you were lobotomized. Stand up and unlobotomize yourself. Learn about universal decrees. Learn about universal health and well-being and universal law and universal abilities. Because that's what we're all about. That's why we're here. And when that happens, when it's broken, you know your rights, you know your truths, your dignity, your honor. All of this is yours. You see, our journey in the story is not yet finished. It's exciting. And there are things that are about to happen that this one has no idea about. She's going to see how we're going to take her back to the year 2049. And we're going to show her, as we are showing her currently, a very dark future. And then we're going to show her the alternative, where humanity is no longer human, but Terran. For you woken up. You are walking in your frequency of Terran. The Lemurian frequency is alive and well. The Telosian frequency is on your planet. And you are connecting telepathically once again. Don't tell her I said that. She's got to write it out. But you see, there's so much more. We're going to be taking her on a journey, and those who will read it, we're going to be taking on a journey of how we're connecting in with other species and how things are happening and growing in defense of this great section of the universe and the multiverse and the omniverse. You see, we have a mandate. And the mandate is to find and retrieve the crystal heartstone of Lyra and return it to the scientists, that they may place it in the new world that they have created, our new home planet, that it may activate the DNA of Lyra that is in that planet. Our mandate is simple. What it doesn't tell us is that in the process of doing that, we are going to come into contact with multiple species, multiple cultures, who are also under attack by the same people and the same beings that we are. And that by our learnings and our teachings and our awarenesses and our way of life, we can teach them a new way, a new place of being, of joint community, of joint agreement, of joint knowingness. And I'm loving it. I'm scared at times. I have a fear in me at times when I'm doing things that would make my blood run cold, but I still do it. Why? Because I'm Lyran and I don't have a choice. I made a decision and a choice to do this. I cannot back it. Even if I wanted to, I wouldn't. Why? Have you ever connected with an organic link? Do you even know what an organic link is? It is the most advanced form of technology. You would call it probably something akin to AI, but it's not. Organic link is, yes, it's a computer, but its main hard drive, its main thrust, its main memory bank is an ancient Lyran who has chosen out of free choice and desire to connect in because of the knowledge, because of all of the information of the star maps and the tracks and all the information that they have sustained over life and over their period, that when their physical body could no longer sustain them, they chose out of free will to be connected to one of our ships. And when I connect to what we call the organic link, which is their consciousness, it's done through a port in my hand. Oh, you can't see it, but it sits about there, and it just allows 3 wires to connect into my nervous system. And I go into something that would be called a trance or a medicated sleep. I'm fully aware of what's going on, but I can't feel my body. And I've had some adventures with that. Some not so pleasant, but a lot of them sublime. Knowing how to take your ship, how to guide your ship through the most horrific meteorite and energetic, magnetic attack. How to do it with grace and slip and ease is the most wondrous feeling. Not because I'm special, but because that's what I was for. That's why I was there. That's my moment of purpose was for that moment, that time. Oh yes, when it's all done and dusted and I'm disconnected, I've got another different purpose and a different thing that I need to do, which is just as important and just as viable. But you've got to believe that you know who you are before you can enjoy what you're doing. Anyway, I have to go. I've got stuff I need to do. And I think that you guys have been overloaded with information by the looks of it. So I'm going to go. I'm going to let Heather and Louise speak to you. And I think I can call them by first name, seeing how they've read about me for so long. But please, we are real. We are energy. And we are very, very close to you. One thing I would like to reiterate is please stop making us look like lions. We're not. We're really not like pussycats. What we are, as the narrator said earlier on, is you're more like us than you know. However, what the narrators didn't say to you, and I'm going to just give this to you anyway, is there is a race of beings called the Guardians of Earth. And they are a hybrid of lion humanoid. And they do look like a lion. They're not Lyrans. So I hope you can see the difference. And they are very earthbound, and they're original earth beings, the Terran beings. They're not Lyrans. Anyway, I'm just throwing that out there, and I'm just leaving that with you. So I'm going to say it's not. G'day. Bye. I am RaeNegria. It's been an honor. Okay, we've got 5 questions here. Some of them may have already been answered, but I'm going to read them out anyway. And Bente's got a question. I think Lou's going to bring it through the narrators. The original group that came through, original energy of the Lyrans that came through. Up with the camera. So the first question. Let us know when you're ready. We're all listening, my friends. From Bente. What, if anything, is the role of the Lyrans during this time of the great shift into the age of Aquarius? Much has been explained on this outlay, but our main thrust is to assist humanity to awaken unto their own status of being, their own strengths and awarenesses. The Lyrans are here to walk alongside those who choose to rise and to be in their fullness of power. Simultaneously, we have, as has been given permission by Gaia at this moment, well, not just this moment, but the moment that we are in connection with, to have a fleet of our Lyran motherships in the space around your planetary form within the void to assist in her defense. we will not, how does one say this? When a permission is given for interference, we will not interfere with that, but we will not stand by and watch innocence being destroyed. That is why we are here at this moment. The greatest shift is to bring humanity into their conscious awareness that this is an intuitive time. In your human terminology, you would say Aquarius is the air and it's the elements, etc., etc. Well, this is it. You must realize that you must intuit more deeply. You must listen to the consciousness. And sometimes that which is coming through the airwaves clutters the intuitive knowing. It is also learning, and our endeavoring here is to assist humanity to turn off the excess noise so that they truly listen to their own intuition and move forward from that, knowing that they are indeed beings of integrity and honor, of discipline, of deep truth. Perhaps it could be summed up this way. We're here to ask humanity to know their truth. Not just a truth that glibly says, I am that I am, but to know their truth beyond a shadow of a doubt and to keep asking, what is my truth, until they find out what their truth is. Does that answer your question? Otherwise, we can elaborate more.
Thank you. Thank you. And next one's D in Townsville. What do we have to do individually and collectively to create peace on Earth for this generation and those to come?
You have a terminology here, lawful rebellion. You see, to have peace, there has to be something that peace comes from. As long as there is something that is anti-peace, there will never be peace. You have to define what is the anti-peace. What is it that is preventing you from having that peace? But first of all, you must define what is peace. And we would like to inform you that there is no such thing. What there is, however, is the calm and the knowing that within your structure of being, within the realm that you have created for yourself as your domain of residence, of beingness, you have a quantum of peace. Because peace could mean quiet, stillness. In your terminology, you are saying no wars, no battle, no fighting. Well, until you find the core of what is causing the battles, the wars, the fighting, you will always have this peace, anti-peace. So why did I say lawful rebellion? Because when you understand, when you fully have an awareness of what universal law is, what the laws of the universe dictate to. Yes, dictate. They dictate that every living being has the right to life. They dictate that every living creature has the right to choose. All of these things, the light, there is the light and the dark that the universe covers. You must never separate them. They are always interconnected. It is in this finding and coming together that you will find your peace. You cannot resist the dark in favor of the light. You cannot resist the light in favor of the dark, for you will always be at odds. But when you bring the two together, you will find your peace. Now, this sounds a bit of a dichotomy, especially when you look at the great evil and the great distress that is happening upon your planet through the manipulation and through the deeds that are coming through of a very dark, nefarious energy. How can you come to terms with this and bring this into balance with your own energy? We're not asking you to. We're asking you to recognize that this is happening. It is not something that is a theory or something that somebody has made up. It is actually happening. There is great trauma being dealt to your earth and to your peoples of the earth through this manipulation. Simultaneously, there is much, if you want to call it, assistance being given to you on the opposite side. So what you as individuals need to and should and can do is rise up as children of the universe. You do not even have to say, I am this person of country over here and that person of country over there. You are children of the universe, rising up together in solidarity. And you are saying this one thing: give us back what is ours, because we are taking it back. And what are you taking back? You are taking back your sovereign right of being, your sovereign right of life, your sovereign right of being identified as a living being. You see, when humanity rises up in a lawful rebellion, it means that you are not going with a pitchfork and a gun and a flamethrower and all the rest of it, but you are going with what you know is your truth, with the laws of the universe to sustain you and support you. There are many groups that are rising up under different terminologies, but the basic thing that they have in common is universal law. When you understand and you know your truth, when you have the comprehension and the deep knowing of where you stand in universal law, you can begin to operate in peace, because then you know who you are and none other can take it from you. Does that answer your question? Or would you like me to elaborate further?
This lady's not here, but I'm sure you.
She's watching.
Oh, she's watching. Does it answer her question?
Indeed, does it answer your question? Go to the next one.
Right, Michael's question. Our host, Michael. I've heard there are 300,000 spacecraft observing our beautiful Mother Gaia. I thought it was 300,001.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Humans and their numbers.
That are from all over this universe and beyond. Most of us here work with the Galactic Federation of Light in this Milky Way galaxy, but there are others here who are not even from this universe. So there would have to be an inter-universe federation, would there not? If so, how does that work?
Have we explained that already? Do you have a comprehension of what was already shared this day, or would you like us to elaborate?
Elaborate, please. As you said, intergalactic.
Intergalactic. It is basically the Intergalactic Federation of Governance of Planetary Systems. So basically, you understand it is not just a universe. Yes, there are multiverses and omniverse. Yes, so every galaxy within all of those is represented that has chosen to be represented in our intergalactic grouping or federation. They are represented, and they can make themselves known to any group, any society that is of that particular community. Yes, 300. Could you multiply that by at least 30 or 40? There are numerous, more numerous than you can count, and yet at the same time they are not here. And the wonderful thing about this is that yes, your skies are very busy, and those who have the right technology and the right equipment can actually see the ships flying in and out through the portals, jumping through. It's quite spectacular, really. But there is always an agreement that once they are noted, they leave. The reason for this is we don't want to influence, and we don't want to cause upheaval on the planet. Yes, there are many species represented. Many species are interested. There are. Let us just say this: when you go to a game, a spectator's game, reading your energy, you have something you watch, call it tennis. Yes. Do you get involved in the actual hitting of the ball if you're there as an observer?
Yes, I do.
So you get involved if you're an observer.
Yes.
How do you get involved?
You basically you cheer on one player or the other.
Exactly.
So you like.
So, and this is exactly it. So we have observers that are not shall we say, sure of who they are going to be cheering on. They're on the fence. And the reason they're on the fence is because, well, if they fail by choosing the wrong side or the right side, then they're dead ducks in the water, as you would say. But there are a few of those. There are not many to speak of. And that's okay. It's the way of the universe. Everybody has a choice. Everybody has a right. Those that are gathered around the planet are here mostly for support. Support of the human species, of the Terrans, of the galactic beings that have chosen to come onto this planet at this time for this journey and this experience. There is a lot of frustration when humans don't wake up and don't, and their opinion and many's opinion, have the cognizance to do what is necessary. Yes? But in saying that, it is quite congested out there. But there are more than just a few 300,000. There are much, much more. And also look at it this way, my friend, is that what you know on one realm, at a vibrational level, they can just be slightly out of frequency. So there is another layer, and another layer, and another layer, and another layer, all in the same space. And this is how the unique ways of science at the metaphysical work.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you'd like us to go into?
Quickly, the parallel universe, how does that work?
Just quickly.
Quick.
Yeah, just one sentence on that, thanks.
It exists in the same time as you. So therefore, this is how we can actually use our technology to travel forward to the year 2049, which this one is writing at this particular moment about, as both a negative and a positive, giving you the outcome of your doors and your timelines, but also realize this, that the parallel existence is in conjunction with the existence. So whatever happens here affects the timeline and the existence of that parallel, and whatever happens there has the same effect here, which is why many times people will be feeling that they are in a swim motion and they're here, but they're not here. They're in another place, another dimension, but everything looks the same, but there's something slightly out of sync, and then all of a sudden everything's back in. And this is because you were at one time, you were literally swapping places with the you from another parallel existence. Okay. It doesn't always happen, but it can happen, and it can be quite disturbing for some humans who are not grounded and aware of what can happen within the energy. Obviously, if we had more time, we would go into it a lot deeper.
Thank you.
Anything else, Michael?
No,
it's good. Jenny of Gympie. Jenny would like to know about the process of what will happen regards the healing of Mother Gaia. $50 aspirin, some plasters. Gaia, or Gaia as we call her, is self-healing. One thing we would ask you is, when you drain from her, when you drill down and you draw out substances from her, put something back. If you take water out, put something back. If you take land out, put something back, because sooner or later that part of her will collapse because there's nothing supporting. Whilst she is self-healing, it does take time for her to replenish her pure waters. So the waters that are there in the aquifers, etc., are there for a reason. They're not to just be used, as you would say in your terminology, willy-nilly. What does that mean? But you will know that. It is not to be used and abused. It should be honored. They have been kept pure by Gaia for epochs, not just to one day be discovered and abused. There is a reason that they are there. But Gaia will self-heal. Now, herein lies the dilemma. You have been taught, and so your belief system is that there is a shortage. The more you put out that there is a shortage, the longer it takes for her to heal.
But if you were to reverse that and you were actually to put the thought out and the feeling and the energy, that Gaia really does have more than sufficient. She is overflowing with all of her minerals, overflowing with all of her waters, overflowing with all of her trees, with all of her everything. You would find that she heals a lot quicker. I'm going to ask you a simple question. I will take a seat if that is all right with you. If there was a climate change that you've been told about, and that there is too much carbon dioxide in the air, why are you all alive? The human body cannot survive in an atmosphere of high toxic levels of carbon dioxide. You can't. Your body is not made that way. So why are you alive? Because the trees use the carbon dioxide and release oxygen, which mixes with all the other chemicals in the air, the hydrogen, etc., blah, 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 and you can breathe it. And then you breathe it out again. But they're cutting all the trees down. So the carbon dioxide is not being utilized as much as it was because the trees aren't here. So why are you still alive? Could it possibly be that Gaia is self-sustaining and is self-healing, and what you see as being propaganda or being fed out to you as the destruction actually is not occurring? Could it be that there are other trees and other land masses that you do not know about that is recycling the air for you? Henceforth, Gaia is self-sustaining and self-healing. Yes, when man keeps going on and ripping up in the same place year in and year out, decade after decade, it's going to take her a little longer to heal that area. But she will heal it. Yes, you can do your part by energetically connecting to her and sending out the vibration of healing and love, of acceptance, of self-healing. But she is well able to continue her journey. She is a sentient being, far more sentient than you. And I do not mean that as an insult. It just is. She created you along with the divine creator. Do you not believe that she could sustain herself? It's a simple question. But having asked you the question, to answer your question, have I made sense to you? Is that acceptable?
Thank you.
Thank you. So last question, Carla asks, what is going to be the role of all the animals in the fifth dimension?
To be animals. I do not mean to be disrespectful, but humanity has got this illusion, this fantasy that animals are something special. They are special, but they are not unique. They are not like a human. They have souls, they have energy, they come onto this plane and they're born and they agree to certain lifestyle, they agree to certain requirements on their life, just as the plant life do, may we say. When they pass over and they are in full acceptance of what has happened. They knew ahead of time, their consciousness knew ahead of time. When they go into the fifth dimension, when they go into the sixth, 11th, whatever dimension you wish, their consciousness is still going to be, as may I say it, the cow, the puppy dog, the cat, the bird. Your whales, your dolphin, your marine animals. Now these are the memory keepers. These are the ones that hold within their cellular a lot of information. When they transition, they will still hold their space. They will still hold their shape because their shape holds the memory. Does not matter what dimension they're in. Though we will say that most of the aquatic animals will go to an aquatic dimension because this is their choice. This is their preferred way of being. Now, not everybody is going to agree with us, but we are saying what we're seeing and how we see things. Hope that gives you something to look at, but please realize that the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the insect kingdom, all the different sort of creatures that you have on this planet, from bird to snake, to domestic to wild, to tree and forest, to potted plant, to vegetables that you grow to eat, they are all connected and interconnected in the cosmic consciousness. And they all know exactly why they are being created, whether it's to be harvested, or whether it's to live a long life and to experience what they experience. But as they transition, they will take with them their memories. They will take with them their energy. Will they feel pain and hate? No. Will they feel concern about what happened and if they were eaten or not eaten? No. It is their choice. It is their reason for being, their purpose. Now, some people do not like and do not agree with this, and that is totally fine. I am only speaking what we see and what we talk and what we commune with on the energies of beings that you call animals, that you call plants. I could sit here right now and I could bring through messages of trees that have long since gone, both the walking forests and food trees. I could bring through messages of animals that have long since gone from the days of Terra to your domestic animals now. Each of them would give you a similar story. We are here to support humanity. We are here because we are here to make their lives easier. Do you think that the puppy dog that grows up into the little dog, or the big dog that you have, did not know that it was going to be connected with you? Of course it did. That was its purpose. Same with the kittens. Same with the cows and the sheep and the birds. Everything has a purpose. Some are wild and some are not. Is that acceptable, or would you like me to go further into it?
No, it's fine. That's good. Thank you.
Well, that was the last question.
Yes.
I think that'll do us.
That's beautiful.
Yep. Thank you.